Does everyone realize how many artists are releasing albums in the next 2 months?
No, but for real, why does it seem like everyone's coming out with an album? Hey guys, it's up, it's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back and we are talking about music, and specifically why we've been getting a lot of it. Like, it is no secret that 2024 is the year of music, because as of recording this, we are in the 4th month of the year and we have gotten some of the most music in this span of time than we had for most of 2023, I fear. Like, the sheer amount of artists that have released singles, full projects, deluxe editions to their albums, and have announced full-fledged tours in the past 4 months is insane. Like, from Olivia Rodrigo to Ariana Grande, to Beyonce, to Billie Eilish, to Doja Cat, to Megan Thee Stallion, to Taylor Swift. And that's just the pop and rap girlies. And if you've seen my last video, you know that that's just a small bubble of artists that I follow that have been releasing. But this is the collective case across all genres of music. Everyone is releasing music and everyone is announcing tours. Olivia Rodrigo's on tour right now. Megan Thee Stallion has a tour coming up. Beyonce is rumored to be threatening our pockets with another tour coming soon for Cowboy Carter. Nicki's on tour. Chloe's rumored to be releasing an album soon. And so is Halle, I think. Like, when I say that everyone is releasing music this year, everyone is releasing music. And like many others, I am so happy to be in this era of music where we're constantly being fed, but it is also so strange and has brought up so many questions as to why now? Like, we have never gotten this much music over this short of a time span, and people on the internet have come up with a ton of different theories as to why they think this may be the case. Some being more tame, to some being a little bit more conspiracy theory-y, like being like, the music industry in Hollywood knows something that we don't, like this is our last year. I have my own theories, and I don't think it's that. And really, in my opinion, it comes down to 3 major things. That being the fact that we're currently in a recession that no one's talking about and everyone is broke, artists included. This being the result of the backups and delays from tours and releases from COVID lockdowns back in 2020. And 3, just being possible music industry pressure on these artists to be coming out with things. As it's no secret that the music industry has come out and said themselves that there is not a ton of money in music alone anymore, due to the general lack of traditional star power and brand longevity of these artists that are coming out now. And we're gonna get into each of those in this video, so if you are new around here and like this kind of content, then definitely subscribe, leave a like on this video, and follow me on my socials at Imurgency on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel directly and getting early access to every single one of these videos, as well as 2 additional exclusive videos a month, then consider hitting the join button to become a channel member today. But self-promo aside, let's talk about what's been going on with the music industry. So just to recap, what's been going on? It's been seeming like the entire music industry has either been releasing new music, full projects, or announcing tours or tours. How do y'all say tour, by the way? Like, are you one of those people that's like, oh, they're on tour? Or do you say tour? Because I'm personally a tour baddie. I pronounce tour like you pronounce four, because it's just a different letter. But I've been hearing certain people be like, it's tour, going on tour. They be pronouncing the hell out that U. I'm sorry, that's an aside, but that, I needed to see where my people were at. Like, which one do you say? But yes, everyone's been announcing tours, and we've only just gotten past the 1st quarter of the year. Like, look at this list of people that have all released music to some capacity in the past 4 months. And that doesn't even account for the giant list of projects that are still yet to come out this year, but have been announced or alluded to. Like, specifically, March and April have been such busy months in terms of music, especially in terms of like mainstream music. Like, it just seems like all of the A-list artists decided that March and April were going to be their go time. Like, they wanted to get in Q1 so bad from pretty much every genre of music too. Like, of course, in my home, which is pop and female rap, we have artists like Ariana Grande releasing Eternal Sunshine. We have Beyonce coming out with Cowboy Carter, which is a country album. Sorry, a Beyonce album. Halle finally coming out with In Your Hands. A couple of tracks from Cardi, a slightly deluxe from Ariana, a full deluxe from Olivia Rodrigo, a full deluxe from Doja Cat, and those are just super A-list currently pop. Then you have projects from Justin Timberlake, Casey Musgraves, Flo Milli, Future, Shakira, Tyla, and probably some more that I'm not mentioning, and that's just from the past 2 months. Now, for those of you that aren't big into music, you may be asking yourself, okay, a lot of people are releasing, how is this different from any time in the past? Well, usually music releases are more spaced out, especially when it comes to highly anticipated releases, like with major mainstream artists. Like, whether that be the artist or the label's choice, typically when major artists are slated to release, other artists will space out their projects accordingly to not interfere and have to compete compete with other artists sales wise or in the charts. Like typically in the past, you've seen artists push back projects that have been announced when a bigger artist will announce their album, or to change the dates behind the scenes to not have two major artists releasing on the same day. Like if you know that a Beyonce album is coming out the last week of March, you sure as hell don't want to release the same week or even like a couple weeks after, because then you're competing with Beyonce, especially if you're in the same genre. And maybe Beyonce wasn't the best example for this example with her latest album, but let's say that it's pop R&B. You don't want to release anywhere in the same sphere as Taylor Swift if you want to have some charting success, because you know how the Swifties get. Like it's gonna be hard to compete in sales if you also occupy a same genre and want to chart. So generally artists and labels space things out a little better and a little farther apart so that things aren't all being released at the same time. But for some reason now, all that's kind of thrown out the window, and the majority of heavy hitters have all released in the last 4 months, honestly the last 2 months. And you could literally see how this volatility is being played out in the charts. Like I want to say for the past 6-7 months prior to, I want to say March, February, the Billboard Top 10 generally had the same 10 songs on there, just in different orders, maybe changing out 1 or 2 tracks whenever someone would release. But you know for sure that Snooze would be up there, Cruel Summer would be up there, Greedy would be up there, and probably some rap, along with any other song that was really trending on TikTok, and then some random country song. Like that was your top 10 that you could expect, with the exception of any new releases. But now, since March, the top 10 looks entirely different, and honestly has been changing week to week. Like with mostly to entirely new releases from heavy hitters taking up the top 10 spots. Like if we look at the Billboard Top 10 right now, the top 10 songs, number 1 is Future, number 2 is Beyonce from her new album, number 3 is Beautiful Things by Benson Boone, which I think might be a TikTok song, I don't know, sorry. Number 4, Too Sweet. Number 5, Lose Control. 6 and 7 also being Beyonce. Number 8 being Jack Harlow, Lovin' On Me, which is shocking because that's the one that's been on the charts for a while. That's one that's been heavily up there. Number 9 being We Can't Be Friends by Ariana, and number 10 also being a Future song. And out of this top 10, I want to say 7 to 8 of these songs were all released within the last 2 months. And I'm scrolling down now to below the top 10, and we're seeing all the songs that had previously been in the top 10 for such a long time. Seeing Greedy in 13, seeing Cruel Summer in 14, seeing Snooze at 17. And we're bound to see all this change again once Taylor Swift releases. Like albums and music are usually released with larger gaps between them. But that's different now. And then touring, the whole concept of touring is completely different now, because it seems like everyone is also announcing tours, which is so different than what we've seen in the past 4 years. And I don't think we've seen this many tours be announced in this short of a time period. Like we've gotten to a point, I'm not sure if this has typically been the case prior to 2020, you can let me know, but we've gotten to a point where artists are announcing their tours before their actual projects come out. Like I remember a couple of artists that have announced that they're going on tour, touring an album that they have yet to put out, that people have yet to hear, which I think is a little crazy, because in my mind, I think that you'd want to announce that after the album comes out so people know if it's a hit or not. Because I personally don't know how I feel about announcing a tour and selling tickets for an album that may possibly be trash and not. But we've been seeing a lot of that lately, which I'd say is pretty different. And then the other thing that's just generally different, and that has become sort of a mini scandal at this point, is the increased emphasis on sales. Like sales used to be really, really important prior to streaming, but once streaming sort of took off, streams are more important and streams are more coveted, and that's what people and artists were more so promoting. But I'd say especially now, and I'm not sure if this is just because we're seeing so many artists release and have their promotion rollouts at the same time, there's just been a heavy push for actual sales, whether that be through physical copies of like CDs and merchandise bundles, to actual sales of like vinyls, and artists putting out like 50 different vinyls for their album. Like sales have become so important and so popular for artists that even some artists have come out to speak on the sort of ridiculousness that is like vinyl sales. Like Billie Eilish being one of the main voices in this recently, where she spoke on how having so many different vinyl versions is sort of wasteful and environmentally irresponsible, but having so many different versions of vinyls that have minor differences produced solely for the sake of boosting album sales. Like, is there really reason to press so many different versions of vinyls that have the exact same music on it, just in different colors? In my opinion, no. I'm also not a vinyl consumer. Like I don't go out and buy vinyls of any artist, but I do think it's kind of ridiculous when artists put out like 8 different versions of a vinyl that just have different patterns on them, because for one, yeah, it is wasteful, and two, it's like, damn, doing all that just for album sales and having people buy multiple versions of an album, to me kind of seems a little disingenuous for the sake of like charting and stuff. And that goes across the board for all fandoms, because I know how stan culture gets and how people will take things and apply them to their own fandom. It's for all artists across the board. I don't think that you need that many versions of vinyls, especially if there's nothing new to them. Like if you're putting exclusive tracks on vinyls, fine. I get it. That's giving a little extra appeal, actually putting something unique on a different vinyl version. But if it's just for the sake of aesthetic, then like maybe 2 is fine, you know? Which brings us to the theory section of this video of why is this all happening? We've noticed the trends here. We've seen that a bunch of music has been coming out. Why? Well, for one, my first theory, and honestly I feel like the most realistic theory of them all, is that we are in a recession and the girlies are broke. And I'm not just saying the artists, like everybody is broke. Everyone is feeling this recession, even though that no one is saying explicitly that we're in a recession. Things are more expensive than they've been in the past. People are making less money. Brands are spending less money than in prior years. Like Cardi B has come on video talking about this directly, speaking about how brands are paying less money and working with fewer people, getting to the point where celebrities are competing with the same brand deals as influencers, which I actually talked about in a previous video. So you should definitely go check that out if you want the full scoop on that. But Cardi honestly spills.
Oh, and I'm gonna give y'all some tea right now. Right now, I'm gonna let y'all influencers know some tea right now. Right now, that's going on. The economy is bad. The economy is bad. If y'all notice, and if y'all go to a lot of artists, fuck influencers. If you go to a lot of artists are not getting brand deals right now. Brands are broke right now. Brands are broke. So y'all are competing with artists when it comes to getting money. So you want to know something? These brands are going to lowball you. They're not even giving artists fucking deals right now. It's broke. The economy's fucked up right now.
So yeah, times are harder for everybody. Like artists are making significantly less money, and this goes for the top tier artists too. Because it's no secret that artists don't make a lot of money from their actual music, like from the streams. So they recoup a lot of that money from other things, like brand deals and partnerships, touring, merch and physical sales, and things like that. So if those things like those deals are paying less and less money and are coming through less frequently and are having more competition because they're competing with influencers as well, and it's known that influencers typically sell things better than celebrities do in a traditional sense, this could make sense as to why they're going so hard for the whole music and the whole touring thing to make that money back. And in this, I want to make a little disclaimer saying that I am not insinuating or suggesting that you feel bad or sad or pity for these artists, because a lot of them are millionaires, and I will never tell you to feel bad for a millionaire when it comes to money, okay? But this is more so to explain why we're seeing what we're seeing and why it seems that they're working so hard and pushing so much stuff out to recoup that money. Because I'm sure that now, especially for the newer artists that have become successful fairly recently, they're experiencing some of the downsides of lifestyle creep right now. And for those of you that don't know, lifestyle creep is like this whole phenomenon where like making more money causes you to spend more money, sort of like keeping up with the Joneses type beat. And once you do that, maintaining all of that you've just spent your money on is a lot harder, especially when you either didn't save right or that source of income and frequency of income changes. So yeah, the girlies may just be broke. The second theory for all this is that not only are the girlies broke, but the industry itself is broke as well. And is actively trying to recoup their money. And I feel like this one can also be true because we've seen it, right? The music industry has been scrambling to make its money back after the past couple of years because, shocker, we all went through and are still going through, whether you like to admit it or not, a pandemic, which caused a lot of delays in Hollywood and in the music industry that is still trying to be caught up on. The industry had to delay and cancel so many tours, so many different projects, album releases, and creative concepts for actual years until it was 1, safe, 2, the artists felt comfortable, and 3, the artists were ready to actually come out with said things. Like, yeah, it was possible that people could have started touring back in 2021, 2022, but if, let's say, an artist decided to not spend their lockdown writing music and actually lived a little and took a break, that means they'd actually need to take that time starting in 2021 to actually write an album and produce an album and promote an album, which generally takes about a year or so to like create a whole era. Oh, I forgot about Dula Peep. I'm thinking about that just now. I forgot to talk about Dula Peep. Dula Peep has a whole album that's coming out. I am so sorry. Shout out to the Fishies or whatever the era is right now. But yeah, a lot of artists are just coming out now with their first or maybe second project post lockdown. So in all that time, a lot of these labels, a lot of the industry has been waiting to recoup their money. They have not been making money off of these people. So there's a lot of pressure there to get things going so that they can make their return on investment. And a lot of that is compounded by the fact that the industry has come out and said there aren't as many new talent that are having like this sort of longevity and superstardom that they have traditionally seen and have wanted to promote. I remember an article coming out, I think like last year, talking about how like the industry is starved of like superstars, and that they essentially keep launching people, but no one's really sticking except for Olivia Rodrigo and Ice Spice, which were two of like the ultra famous new stars to come on the scene. And I feel like the reasoning why we haven't seen more of those type of acts, those type of talents, is because of the dissolution of A&R and just general artist development, but that's a topic for a completely different video. But yeah, that's just to say that there's a lot of money that's left on the table and that's not being made back. So it makes sense as for why they'd be pushing so hard to get these albums out as soon as possible and to get on tour as soon as possible to make money, which doesn't necessarily sound great, and it's not great. And it's actually kind of concerning when you think about it, because if the ultra rich, these are people that are making millions and millions of dollars, if they're scrambling to make their money back, what does that mean for the rest of us? And that, actually, now that I said that kind of sounded a little trickle down, and I did not mean it to be like that. I am so sorry. But as we know, everyone has been feeling it. Everyone has been struggling, especially over the past couple of years, and things are just getting worse and worse. And like I said, no one's floating around the R word publicly yet, but it seems like it's giving that. And I feel like it's also kind of fueling the inauthenticity gap that we're experiencing between regular everyday people, the fans, and these artists and celebrities, because money is already tight for us. We feel it, like there is a giant constrict, like we are holding back and trying to survive here. It feels kind of inauthentic to have all these products thrown in our face, being like, oh, I'm coming out with a new line here, coming out with a new product here, here's my new album, enjoy that. But then also I have a tour coming out along with every other artist that's putting out music right now, and it is draining our bankianas, okay? Like, I don't know who has the money to be going to all these tours, but it's not me, I'll tell you that, okay? It's not me. And just seeing all this being thrown in our faces while we're all struggling, it's just like, damn. I know you're struggling right now, which is why the promo roll is so hard right now, but like, give us a break, you know? Push the tour back a year. Push something to 2025. Like, give us something in 2025, because right now it's getting like we're being fed right now, but 2025 and 2026 are going to be a drought. And like going back to the whole tour thing, like everyone can't go on tour because not everyone's going to go to their shows. So I'm wondering, like, is this going to lead to lower ticket sales? Like we've seen it with J-Lo. Like J-Lo's had to repurpose her whole tour because her shows just weren't selling, which leads me to believe that if everyone's announcing tours, this may also disproportionately impact artists that aren't like A-list right now. Like I know that J-Lo's still super famous, but in terms of like the music industry, she's not one of the most popular artists that people were anticipating releases from. In fact, a lot of people were gagged that she released her last project. Like for artists that aren't super duper mainstream right now, that aren't the Beyoncés, that aren't the Taylor Swifts, that aren't the Ariana Grandes, that aren't the Billie Eilishes, that aren't the Olivia Rodrigos, will people be willing to spend the money that they do have on these shows? Because they're expensive. It's not like touring is cheap. Like you were spending at least $100 on a ticket, and that's for nosebleeds at the very least. And actually now, this is just me thinking out loud, maybe it'll have the opposite effect where larger artists will feel it more, because larger artists' concert tickets cost more than like a smaller artist. Like I just went to go see Destin Conrad in concert the other week. Phenomenal. He is an amazing artist. Love him down. He needs to be bigger. He needs to be one of the main R&B people. But his concert ticket was only like $45, which was nice and affordable, and I could do that. And I think like his VIP meet and greet was like 90 or like 100 or something, which was incredibly reasonable, because that's still cheaper than like a nosebleed ticket for someone that's in like an arena or a stadium tour. That's like $100 minimum, you know? So I'm unsure who's going to feel the fallout of this more. We'll see, I guess. Regardless, though, I feel like, I know it's not the artist's fault because they couldn't have predicted the economy would be how it is right now, but it's just poor timing, because it's inconvenient and mistimed now to be like price gouging people, being like, come to my concert, y'all, I just released a new project, considering that everyone is struggling right now. There's a lot of factors that are going into things right now, where the music industry is just kind of weird right now. But what does this specifically mean for you and I, okay? Essentially, right now, we are in the golden age of music. Like for the stuff we can get for free or for a music subscription, we are getting the most music in the span of time as we ever have. Like if you are a music fan and are a fan of multiple genres of music, there is something coming out for you every single week. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but as of recently, artists have been abandoning the New Music Friday rule, and they've just been releasing music at any point in the week. Like Camila Cabello released that one song on like a Tuesday or like a Wednesday. Sabrina Carpenter is releasing her song on a Thursday. People are just releasing their music at any time in the week in abundance. So if you are a music fan, a music listener, we are being fed, and we will probably revere this as one of the golden ages of music looking back at this time. So truly enjoy this. But then on the flip side of things, I feel like we're starting to approach a time where we're getting a little bit of release fatigue. Like there are definitely artists that I love and would normally be a fan of and would be tracking their every single release, but I've been falling behind on their projects just because there's so much other stuff that's out right now. Like Conan Gray's album. Conan Gray came out with a whole album, I think like last week. I have yet to hear it because I'm still stuck in listening to Cowboy Carter and Eternal Sunshine on repeat. Like, and that's just on my daily rotation. And then still trying to discover some of the new songs from some of my faves. Like I just started listening to the Doja Deluxe and I still haven't gotten into it fully yet. And y'all know how much I love Doja's music. There's just so much music right now that I feel like it's hard to keep up. It's hard to listen to everything. Like there's so much music that I haven't gone into deeply or to the normal levels that I go in and enjoy music on. Like I don't know the lyrics for most of the songs. I'm usually one of those listeners that listens to a project like at least 10 times front to back, then goes through the lyrics and tries to memorize each of the lyrics for each of the tracks. I haven't got the chance to do that because I'm still bouncing through my 10 listens of each project. Like there's just so much music out. I never thought there would be a world where Ariana, Beyonce, Doja, Flo Milli, and Meg would all put out songs and full projects within 6 weeks of each other. Like that has not quite registered in my mind yet, and I haven't fully processed that. And I feel like a lot of people haven't either. Like it's just like a lot of music. Like I'm so grateful that we're being fed in this way, but there is a bit of fatigue. We're not even done yet because there's still so many projects that have yet to come out. Like I said, Taylor Swift's album, I'm not a Swiftie. Sorry. I don't know if I ever gave that, but I'm not a Swiftie. But her album's coming out. Dua Lipa's album's coming out. Megan's full album is coming out. Lil Nas's Maserati 2, I think, is what he's coming out with, is coming out. Oh, Billy's album is still coming out. Allegedly, the full deluxe of Eternal Sunshine is coming out soon. Like, it's just like a lot. It's a lot, and it's only April. Like, I think I forget which one. I don't know if it's the Kanye album or if it's the Metro Boomin album. There's supposed to be a second one that's coming out. The one that just got released this year is supposed to be a second full album that's coming out soon, like in this first half of the year. Insane. Like it's a surplus of music, truly. And this is why I'm such a proponent for bringing back festivals and festival culture, because there's just no way to see all of these artists live. And a lot of the artists that are out now, that are releasing music now, are amazing live, better live, I fear. And there's just no way to see them all outside of a festival setting. Like a festival setting is perfect because you get a lineup of all of your favorite artists, all performing within 3 days. You can go back to back to back to back and see all of their shows for like one ticket price as opposed to like getting 6 different concert tickets with varying seats and all that. Like I feel like festival culture is going to be really strong this year. I know Coachella's coming up. I am so lucky and happy that I'm going to Coachella for the first ever time ever in the next couple of days to experience that. But for like the Lollapaloozas, for the Bumbershoots, for the Something in the Water, for all of the festivals that come out this year, I feel like this will be a really great year for those because there's just a lot. There's a lot to listen to, y'all. Power to you if you're able to get through everything. If you have like a rotation of every single new release that you go through every day on repeat, God bless you. But it's just a lot. And now I like to think that we have a better idea as to why that is. Because at the end of the day, everybody's trying to make some change. Everybody's trying to make some money, okay? Because we are all what? Struggling. But that's all I got for this video, y'all. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I'm onto something with the theories that I got going on here? Do you think that I'm crazy and the only logical solution is that the world is ending next year, so everyone's trying to get out all the music now? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, if you're new, then definitely subscribe. Leave a like on this video and follow me on my socials at Imurgency on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Other than that, y'all, I have an emergency and I will see you in the next video. Peace.